Hello friends, got another old fiddle here I want to tell you a little about and play you a tune on it. This fiddle was found at a flea market south of Memphis, Indiana by my uncle, Alan Turner Guernsey. And I guess it would have been probably around 1989 maybe. At any rate, he told me that he had seen this fiddle at this flea market, and he said, I don't know anything about him, but you might want to check it out. So I did. Drove down there and found this fiddle, which was nothing but a bare neck, no pegs, no fingerboard, and the body. And it looked like it'd been sat on down here because it had like 5 or 6 cracks on the top down here by the tailpiece. So I offered the guy 20 bucks. I said, this thing's got to have a lot of work before it can be played. And he accepted the 20 bucks. I took it home and took the top off. And when I got the top off, it hadn't even been finished out at all on the inside of the top. I mean, there were still like gouge marks in the inside of the top. It had a made-in bass bar. And so my friend Herb Kleinard and mentor, fiddle mentor, helped me to plane the bass bar out of it. And I took it home and I started smoothing those gouge marks out in the top. And I had a 100-watt bulb above my workbench in my shed, right? And so I could hold that top up to that and I could see the thicknesses, you know, and tell where the inconsistencies were. So I used that bulb. First I glued the cracks and got those secured. Then I used that bulb as a gauge. It didn't use any calipers or anything. And I had seen a documentary on PBS on how violins were voiced and where the thick and thin parts were on the tops. And the thickest part was this egg-shaped place right in here around the sound holes. And then it got thinner, and then the thinnest part was out here close to the edge. So that's what I tried to make it look like when I held it up to the light. When I got finished doing that, thought I was okay, I took it back down to Herb Kleinard's place, and he helped me make a bass bar and install it. And the bass bar was an experimental bass bar, like looked like a scallop brace in a old Martin guitar top. And we glued that thing in there, and then also there were no corner blocks up in these upper points. There were fake ones down here, so we made corner blocks and put in it. And then I took it home and glued the top back on. Then I kind of put it away for a while and didn't fool with it. And I don't know, a couple of years went by, maybe a little longer than that. And I took it to another repairman who put the fingerboard on it and did a little bit of spot finishing and put a set of ebony pegs on it. So when I got it back from him, it sounded almost like it does now. The first thing I did was take it and play it on a bluegrass gospel album. And played it on gigs and around. But some years later then, my friend Gary Cornett told me, he said, I think I can help your fiddle if I put a modern bass bar in it. And I said, sure, sounds great, go ahead and do it. He then told me that when I got it back from him that he had tweaked the thicknesses in a couple of places, but he said he didn't have to do much. So I got it pretty close just by eyeballing it. At any rate, he also oversprayed it with this darker varnish. It was like a kind of medium brown, like a lot of French fiddles are, but this is a German Stradivarius copy. And it's probably 100 years old, I'm going to say, close to it. Catalog fiddle, not any kind of money fiddle, you know, but it's a good player. Gary also put these geared pegs on it for cross-tuning purposes, you know, makes it real quick. Plus they never spin out in the dry weather, which is good. I'm trying to think of what else he did. I think that's about it. He put this little ebony horseshoe on the neck heel, you know. And but this has got a one-piece back. It's got some decent looking stripe on it, you know. The ribs have nice stripe. Not anything too bold, but okay, you know. Neck's kind of the same way. It's not super bold kind of stripe, but it's got some stripe to it. Scroll's cut pretty decent, you know, especially for a catalog fiddle. And you get this thing out in the sun and it looks like a real kind of an amber color, you know. Quite a bit different than this. Let's see if it's in tune here. E string wants to go flat. I'll play you a little tune. Texas. Thought it turned out to sound pretty good for a cheap fiddle. 20 bucks. 20 bucks. So if you find a cheap fiddle and you're not afraid to try to work on them, might end up with something like that. Anyway, have a good one. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay healthy. I'll see you soon with another story and another fiddle.